only goal is just to be. There's only now, there's only here. Give in to love or live in fear. No other path, no other way, no day but today.
I remember very clearly the day I heard that Broadway shut down, because I was actually getting ready to go to the opening night of Six. March 12th was supposed to be their opening night. And so I remember sort of getting myself ready and going, what am I gonna wear? What's in my closet? And I even remember asking myself, are we really going to an opening night?
The second way you reduce the spread, besides testing, is reduce the density of people. We all talked about how it's contagious, touching surfaces, etc. Reduce the density. Those new rules will go into effect 5 o'clock on Friday, except for the Broadway theaters in Manhattan, where it will go into effect 5 o'clock today. Yes, that's only several hours, but we've already been talking to the Broadway theaters, and they are aware that we're going to be doing this. So they have notice. These rules don't apply to schools, hospitals.
Every single day I was checking, I was looking ahead, and I started to get the feeling that what we were doing was gonna be the first thing to go, because we were putting that many people in a room with what was going on globally was dangerous at that point. And you could start feeling it around all of the different Broadway shows, where we were all kind of like, well, this feels like a very vulnerable position for us. So, but we were still taking the lead from the governor, which at this point, we were just going on, you know, business as usual. Then eventually, you know, there were guys, like 50 guys in hazmat suits, 10 feet away from us, not in hazmat suits. So it was kind of like, well, this no longer feels like our safe place.
Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction.
I think everybody reacts to this particular health crisis differently in their apartments. Some people are eating their entire cupboards full of snacks. Some people have decided to like hide and sort of take time for themselves and meditate and be very quiet. I'm not one of those people. So the way that I deal with stress and the way that I deal with the lack of control is to find something to control and something to do. And I felt like the minute that Broadway shut down and performing arts centers shut down across the nation, and that really is what I do. I'm not in a Broadway show, but I had symphony gigs and concert gigs that were in April and May and one in March that got canceled, and the ones in April and May that have gotten postponed. That I said, well, this can't. For me, my immediate reaction was, wait a minute, those venues have shut down, but that doesn't mean I have to stop making music, right? Like that doesn't mean I have to stop being an artist, right?
I fortunately was asked to do a residency at Green Room 42, which I was doing all of February, and we added more in March because people were coming and it was doing so well. So that's what I was doing. I was here in New York. I was, you know, auditioning and taking voice lessons and doing my residency, and waiting to head back out to California to start rehearsals for Olympica.
This next song, we were running through things and Tad just started playing it just like we're doing now, and it's actually one of my favorite songs that I used to sing when I was a kid. So it was a fave. when we did it a few weeks ago at the Green Room. So we'll do it again. Maybe far away, or maybe real nearby. He may be pouring her coffee. She may be straightening his tie.
It's just strange, in our industry, because everything that you do supplementally for income when you don't have a steady job, you can't even do those things, and so you can do versions of them, I'm sure, but yeah, it's just a strange time. We're all in this holding pattern, which has its aspects of comfort because there's nothing we can do, but it's also stressful to not be able to make a plan,
I think as actors, we're all so used to the unknown. We're also used to I don't know where my next job is. Like all of 2016, 2017, I didn't even get a call back. I was like, well, I guess I'll never work again. This was fun. I'll open a bakery. I don't know. And so I think we're so used to this constant, you're constantly putting yourself out there. You're constantly opening yourself up to rejection, to opportunity, to, you're doing a million different appearances at 54 Below and Joe's Pub and these things, and hoping that, maybe you'll get a voiceover audition so you can pay your rent. You're constantly putting yourself out there in hopes that something will click and something will happen. So as actors, we are uniquely equipped for the unknown and for large spans of time where we're not necessarily doing anything.
Wait, hold on. I need to bounce this.
What are you bouncing?
So basically that idea I had for that song kind of turned into an idea for a whole movie, and now I think I'm making it.
I was relieved that here in California that our governor was taking this very seriously. I was obviously very relieved that Governor Cuomo, because my friends and my family are in New York, so to know that they were taking it very seriously as well. I mean, it still is very scary, I feel, at least here in LA, I can go out for walks, but the second I'm outside, I'm like, my anxiety just skyrockets, and I get in my car instead, and I take these drives just to kind of clear my head and give myself a change of scenery. But it was, when I say that the fear was paralyzing, the fear was paralyzing. I was in bed until 3 or 4. I was staying up reading news, refreshing Twitter at 5 a.m. It was really crazy person behavior. And I there's just no way that I, having watched movies about contagions, I was there's no way that I can continue to feel this way for what could be months,
I had a pretty interesting experience at 9/11, where I realized that I'm the kind of person that needs to fix things. So the day after 9/11, actually the day of 9/11, I was signing up for the Red Cross And within like 2 days, I was, in an office answering questions. And then a week later, I was like literally down, like spraying down workers' boots, firemen's boots, so they could get a meal. And it just gave me a great amount of satisfaction and happiness to know that I was doing something else, doing something for somebody else. And when this all happened, I didn't even think about it. It just was like a natural instinct to jump in and create rather than shrink back and fade away.
I had always heard of Stage It. As a musician, I remember having played jazz clubs all around the country and going on the road with my musicians. I've had a lot of people go, "Hey, have you ever thought about streaming a show?" And I said, I've never thought of that. So I decided to schedule a Stage It show on my own and play for myself, which is something that I normally don't do. To say, hey, we're going to still create art and still create music, even though we're not allowed to gather people together. But I think it was also important for all of us to say, we also have to be socially distant.
No day but today. No day but today.
Back in January, I had hosted the LA Ovation Theater Awards, and I had a really great time hosting. And a dear friend of mine, Sam Pasternak, who is the producer of our show, he and I had lunch, and I talked to him about how, the kind of the pie in the sky dream for me would be someday host a talk show. One morning, he woke up at 4 and jotted down, "Call George tomorrow, talk show." And he called me, and we talked about, the paralysis that we were feeling. And we were talking about the need and want to do something. And so what could we do?
Hey, hello, everyone. And welcome to another episode of Sundays on the Couch with George. I'm George. This is the couch. I hope you're all staying inside, washing your hands. I hope everyone around you is healthy and safe. Sending all of my love and thoughts to everyone watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I'm so excited for our episode. A little backstory for people who are new to the show, new viewers and old. The point of this show is to entertain, be light and silly, have a good time, but it's also to raise money for a different organization every week. So each show every week we'll have a new guest.
For me, the effects of COVID-19 have forced me into this almost like a involuntary kind of reverting to my childhood. I'm finding comfort in things that I haven't seen or thought about since I was, a teenager. And so the idea behind the game section is the segment's called Schools Out. Schools are closed, obviously. And a lot of the people watching at home are younger people. And so I wanted to give as kind of a school themed game segment. So we do things like arts and crafts. Joe Iconis and I decorated Easter eggs to look like each other on the first episode with 60 seconds on the clock. So it feels very panicked and rushed.
Do you want to see mine?
Yes.
I cut some of my own hair.
And then we do this segment that actually has gotten really great feedback. It's called Delayed Duets. And basically in Delayed Duets, we, myself and the guest will sing a duet. But as you know, this Zoom live stream era that we're living in, you can't sing a duet with someone because of the lag. So we've decided to use that to our advantage. And it's been really fun to watch two people be completely off, but really passionate in what they're singing.
Hold your breath, it gets better.
I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far. I can't go back to where I used to be. Every Turn a surprise.
With new horizons.
Every moment, red letter. I'll chase them anywhere. There's time to spare. Let me share this whole new world with you.
Okay, so Nicole, I'm trying to use the speaker here to my direct right instead of on the ground over there where it was. So let's just do fairy tales. Louder, softer.
That sounds great.
It does. Good.
Sounds amazing.
Good. And we're muting them during all of this so that their laughter doesn't break it up.
Thank God.
As soon as they said we were shutting down, the first thing that came to my mind was like my kids show, because I knew kids needed something to do and they needed entertainment and they needed to feel like they were a part of something, which is exactly what the live stage show is. But it did take me like 4 weeks to adapt the stage show for the small screen. I thought it was going to be easy, and it was just like, it was like being a playwright, like having to literally adapt and change what the story is and how the audience works with it.
A bit closer. No. I know. Yay! Oh! Oh! I did not expect that to happen at all. Okay. Well, I'm just going to have some juice, and then we'll continue with the show.
So while I was sort of getting that ready, I had already done Desperately Seeking the Exit like a week before on a whim, last minute. And so since I had the script on my desk, I said, well, I can kind of do this in the meantime. I had done some little practice sessions of parts of it because it goes back and forth from using music to me talking in the stage show, and I wasn't sure how that would work on this platform. And I also wanted to sort of show all this footage from the productions in Tokyo and London that nobody had ever seen. I thought, well, no one's gonna shut me down now. So I dug those out and I created a whole thing out of it. And before I knew it, my 1 hour show had turned into a 90-minute online show. And then a producer gave me a month-long run off West End in Leicester Square. So all the reviewers that reviewed the musical came to review my show about their reviews of my musical.
Wow.
Show about their reviews of my show got better reviews than the show that they reviewed. So that was really good.
While I was able to write little bits and pieces here and there and sort of starting to explore it more and more as time went on, it wasn't until I got here that I really like opened up, the notes thing on my phone and like 6 different journals that I'd brought from the city that I'd started, and that I could really say like, okay, what happened? And how do I songwriting has always been how I've understood my life, how I've understood and been able to process and let go everything that's happened. So for me, I had all of these songs that were half-baked, and I had all of this time that I got to use to explore it. And at this point, I thought it was only a month. So I was like, go time.
Well, here I am in Connecticut. We have been closed or suspended. We have been suspended for 1 month. And so I have made a vow to myself that I would learn how to use Logic. I learned Pro Tools in college. It never was something that I just never learned really how to do it well. And I'm a stubborn person, and if I can't do something really well, I kind of lose interest in it, which is something I'm working on. Thank you so much. Therapy works. But
And so it really did, in this sort of like isolation, give me a space to, in my brain, I was like, oh, and then I'll just like get someone else to produce them later. And then I found that sort of I liked capturing them the way that I wrote them, which was very new for me. So,
It felt good for a minute.
so long, I've thought of social media as this thing that is stopping us from connecting. And as theater people, we value a live audience. And now that we've been through a couple of weeks of this quarantine, I realize social media is actually the thing that is keeping us together. The fact that you and I are talking on Zoom right now, and it doesn't replace the live experience, but in these times where we all have to do what we have to do, this is pretty good. It's keeping us connected and it's keeping us close.
I'm just now getting to the point where I reached out to my guitar player just 2 nights ago, and I was like, do you want to start like doing some collaboration videos together? And I reached out to a couple friends of just like, do you want to just do this like musical theater duet just for fun? Like, because I'm starting to get the itch. And I'm not a poster of myself singing online. I'm nobody, and you can ask anybody, like, I'm not a person who does that. But I know it's something that I've always needed to get over, and I think maybe now's the time to do it,
All right, Eden. You ready?
I'm ready, mate.
Sweet understanding. Sweet understanding. Sweet was your
What is wild about right now is that there is not opportunity, really. There's the internet, you can perform, you can go live, but you're not gonna get a call that audition you did last week is going into production on Wednesday. You're just kind of, we know we're here right now. We know we're planted. And beyond that, this time is what we make of it. And I think that's always true. But I think a lot of people right now are being faced with, well, what do I make of time if I have all the options of my home?
Writers are in a great place because they can write wherever. They can be sitting in the toilet and write the next great American musical. Actors, on the other hand, we're kind of waiting for things to clear and waiting for permission to resume our jobs. And there are a couple of us who have decided, like, I don't want to wait for permission. Like, if I can make something, I'm going to make something.
The artists who are freaking out because they're not providing content and they feel like they should. And I understand that. I wonder if the reason that they're feeling like they should is just because everyone else is doing it. And I think that's a terrible reason to do something. I think you just do it because you absolutely have to do it, and then you figure out a way to make it work. We're in this for a long time, so let's just have a lot of previews.
What amazing art can come out of moments like that, and to really sit with the pain and really sit with the discomfort. And it's not easy to do, and it's exhausting. So there has to be a happy medium, but I really encourage people to spend some time with themselves, like not just alone in solitude, but really like inside to see what's going on in there.
I think in this time of isolation, it's really important to me as an artist to continue doing what I do on stage, and that is to bring people together and to let them see themselves through my lens and to feel like they are not alone and feel like they're a part of something. We're all so wanting to be a part of that thing that we always were, going to the theater every night and going out for drinks afterwards. And I guess I just feel like it's one of the things I can do to kind of help us all feel like that's happening again. Sorry.
I want for people to keep in touch and do all of those things that social media and Zoom and FaceTime allow us to do. But I also want artists at some point to be still and be quiet and really take this time to get to know yourself and form your opinions and see how you feel about things, because you can only become a better person through something like that, I think.
I go through days where I have good days where I go, this is what I want to do. I want to write this. I want to write my next cabaret show. I want to do a live stream concert. I want to be on Instagram Live. And trust me, I too have days where I go and I shut down and I don't want to do anything, because it's a scary time. And sometimes it's okay to just sit in your anxiety. And then at some point for me, I know that I can't sit in this anymore. I have to do something. I have to take all of this pent up energy and expend it somehow, or focus it somewhere that's going to be productive. I think for all of us, we're going to be going through a lot of roller coaster emotions through the next couple of months. And just know that however you deal with that roller coaster of emotions is right. Like, it's okay. However you decide to handle it. We've not been here before as a community of artists, and we have not been here before as a nation and as a world. And whatever you decide to do is the right thing to do. And just go with your gut and be good to yourself.
We as artists, we have a responsibility to the people who support us, our audiences. And so I think it's crucial that we all like kind of band together.
I hope that people are a little bit nicer to each other. I hope that people, when it's safe to do so, hug each other a little bit tighter. And I hope that people really, really get to take in how special live theater and live music is. Because I think that's something that, and meanwhile, I'm like watching every live concert. I'm loving every single thing that is being put on the internet. I eat it all up. I love it. I love seeing these intimate glances into so many artists' lives. But there is nothing like the energy in a room of live performance. And I think that, I know I take for granted how many brilliant performances I get to see 8 times a week in my own show. And I just hope that when we all get to come back together, that magic that happens inside a Broadway theater is something that we all can sort of take a step back and really, really admire for like the true magic that it is.